MGM. Hello to everybody. Welcome to your favorite, because I'm telling you, it's your favorite prediction market live stream. Again, no Diego. I suspect he's dead. That's really no, he's not really. I spoke to him. He can barely talk. He looks like he's dead. If you put him in a coffin, in a nice suit, washed his face, shaved his face, he'd look dead. So let's kick off in the usual rhythm. We'll be covering the posts we've saw over the past day or so that we thought were quite interesting for the general prediction markets theme, because that's what we're about. We've got our own little prediction market, but actually we're really interested in the game entirely and how it's going to unfold. So let's jump into it. Share. I think it's this one. There we go. All right, let's do the split screen thing. Let me zoom out so you can see it better. Is that better? That's not that much better. Come on. Is this better? Ah, that's much better. All right, cool. So you won't get a little bit of my face. So this is really big. This is big news. Diego and I spoke about this a couple of times. Polymarket and Kalshi are not going to be the only big players in the game, right? Like, they are first movers, first mover advantage, particularly Polymarket, Kalshi coming in next. But it doesn't, if you have money and resource and you can buy the right people at the right time, it doesn't take much to create a prediction market, really. I know in chain one, it's a lot more difficult than an off-chain one, but Polymarket's tech's out there to be forked for the right individual to be able to use it, or right team even. But this is FanDuel, right? Huge user base, trad bet. That's a phrase that I'm going to start throwing about, trad bet. They are looking at launching a prediction market, and it won't be long till we see the rest of them. And here's a few reasons why. They're essentially unregulated, right? I know Kalshi keep pumping we're regulated, but Polymarket was operating unregulated for a while, purely because they were doing like the legal work. But the way Kalshi's approached it is that they're going through and they're knocking down all the US regulators, state by state. I think this is how they're doing it. That must cost a fortune. And so they're paving the way for other people to come in after them. So they're laying the straw, and then everybody will come through afterwards. So I think we'll see a lot more of this, and this I like because this is competition, right? So it's just not going to be as easy for everybody. They're going to have to improve what they give the community. Not to say that Kalshi and Polymarket and Limitless and all that don't give to the community, but when you're trying to go after normies, you're going to have to give a bit more, right? And to be able to maintain your lead and to be able to steal their users, because that's the game essentially. The game is create a platform and try drain all the money from the original platform creators, right? So we've seen it loads. Like, look at Snapchat's attempt on Instagram, and it worked for a while, but then Instagram came back because Facebook has far more utility everywhere else. So vampire attacks essentially on the incumbent. Let me have a look here. This follows back into this stock market nerd. I haven't seen this guy before. Diego showed me it. Hard to see prediction markets killing BetMGM in their latest release. Raised annual revenue targets by 2%. Raised annual EBITDA target, I don't know what that is, by 33%, based on strong underlying trends. If they can hang in there this well, strong players like Flute and DraftKings should too. Again, come back to what I was saying. This isn't a 2-horse race, 3-horse race. If we count Limitless, I always leave Limitless out, and I apologize to Limitless folks. It's not deliberate. It's just my feed is just bombarding me with Polymarket and Kalshi and reprogramming my brain. That's the problem with feeds. So it's not going to be just a few players coming out of crypto and being crypto native, right? Because these companies have huge amounts of money and huge amounts of sway with regulators and stuff like that. So they're going to come in and they're going to fight back. They're not going to want to give it up that easily. So they've been playing the game longer, right? They understand what we call in the UK punters. I don't know what they're called in the rest of the world. Punters are people who want to take a punt, take a bet, right? So they know the punters well. They've been doing this for decades and decades and decades in legacy businesses. Um, so it will be interesting to see how they integrate that into all their other businesses and and kind of try their best to stop the vampire attack with their own tools. Because remember, most people aren't out there to change the world, to see a better world. They're just out there to uh, speculation is entertainment, enjoy themselves, maybe make a few quid on the side. There's obviously, you can see with the feeds, if you're in the poly market or prediction market feeds, there's some dudes out there who are like heavy hitters and this is their job, but most people it isn't. All right, so let's switch it into more ecosystem updates. Oh, I just realized that I forgot to change the stream name today. Oh well, this is what happens when you're on man ban. Sorry guys, we are talking about oracles again anyway, so it kind of works. So Kalshi has announced another oracle integration. Diego corrected me. I was calling it Pyth, but he was saying it's Pyth. So they announced Pyth, I think, yesterday or the day before. And they're now also partnering with Stork, because you're not going to just have one oracle. You're going to have many. And we've got a bit of a copy pasta tweet, more or less, from Stork themselves. Builders can now access Kalshi's real-time prices, volumes, liquidity, open interest, and resolutions directly through Stork across 70 chains. So again, this is the Kalshi's push into crypto, into becoming natively crypto. I presume natively crypto. They haven't really outlined what their plan is. Just a few of their onboarded KOLs going, wait till next month, let you see what's going to happen. So we've started to see that roll out, which is great and interesting. Next up, no, that's what did I have double Storks? I've got no. Oh, that was it. Sorry. I'm going to do some housekeeping, guys. I'm going to close some windows so I don't get confused. Okay. Next up, Marvin. Trader Marvin 1. Like the little icon. Icon avatar. One of the best things about trading on Polymarket is taking advantage of all the cool trading tools you have at your disposal. One of my favorites at the moment is Polymarket Analytics, created by Primo Data. That one's quite useful. Data's out of date, so you can't use it like as up to date live data, but it is really useful. That makes sense. I didn't know who created that, but it's interesting that it was a third party because they had Limitless in there. It's analytics tools that have data about every trader, such as their win percentage, profit and loss, what the market categories they are best and worst at. That's cool. Current holdings and the name of their firstborn child. Oh, he's a funny one, this one. Literally everything you might want to know to get the edge. What he's implying is copy trading, right? Yeah, I think so. And I think we've spoke about copy trading before. I think copy trading can be very dangerous if you're just blindly copy trading. But if you're sort of using them as a reference point and you're like going, okay, they're good at this category, let's follow and see, but not understanding how they've come to the conclusions of their bets means that you're unlikely to get any better at trading on your own without copy trading. But I think it's really good for like sort of a passive mentor. You're watching what they're good at, you're watching what they're betting in. But yeah, I think like this way might be actually less dangerous than using the actual copy trade tools. But what are people saying in the analytics? In the comments. Nah, nothing interesting. But yeah, check out that tool if you haven't before, like polymarketanalytics.com. It is really useful. It has got some aggregated data from Kalshi and Limitless also, and I would imagine they would spin up another product with all of them. Imagine if you connect all of your betting accounts into one aggregated list, or they could through wallet transactions, and they could just show you how good you are across the board. Might also mess things up for you if you're the person that's being copied. Anyway, next up is a Kalshi badge. I feel like we don't cover enough Kalshi badge people. It's not deliberate. I think it's because they're moving to on chain and we're kind of like crypto native. So we're just like more interested in the crypto native stuff. Um, Excited to announce that Likely Soul will be merging with Kairos Live HQ. They've built the most performant prediction market trading module in the world, and our research tooling will take it even further. Looking forward to trading the future. All right, let's have a look at this. Let's see. So what was? Oh, why do you do that? I think it must be something to with Restream. Okay, join the waitlist. Okay, so support supported by Kalshi. Badges are very important. All right, let me just jump back to this. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. And Kairos Live. I'm just checking out what these are. Remember, this show is mostly, I mean, we're slightly more prepared when Diego's here, but mostly us just checking out things that looked quite interesting and then going through them live on the show. Okay. Kairos Live is a trading terminal and it's coming soon. So I think this is a bit of a narrative forming. Let me share this because this is actually the more interesting post. Um, this is going to be an interesting narrative, right? And we'll see how it plays out and see if the demand's actually there. So if anybody remembers the last cycle, terminals were quite a big thing. We token terminal. I don't know if they're still about. I think I got an email from them a while ago. At a company I was working at, a media company, they were trying to build a terminal. They're all trying to be like sort of like Bloomberg style companies, but for the DeFi niche. I I I mean I'm not in DeFi. I don't pay as much attention to DeFi um, as I used to, but I'm not entirely sure if any of them actually made a difference or found a product market fit. Because the thing is about terminals is they're quite costly to build. They won't be cheap to maintain, and they'll need like super users. So like Bloomberg terminal, I think at minimum costs like 2.5 grand a month. So you'd be looking for something parallel in these other verticals, or maybe a bit cheaper. But if you can't find those sorts of users, there's not enough of them, or they've already got a solution that they're not willing to move from. Um, you're going to have problems growing. So I'm interested to see if how this narrative plays, and what these tools look like, and what their pricing models are, because you've got to make it like a good balance between convenience and price. Because if it's too expensive, even if it's convenient, it's just out of reach. So yeah, I'm interested to see what this narrative does. See, see if we get any winners out of it. Anyone that kind of like rises above and everybody starts to use. Just kind of like your trading view, because that's kind of like it's the kind of Bloomberg terminal trading view sort of idea that everybody would like to copy. And even with TradingView, lots of companies, and I was kind of semi-involved in one at one point, were trying to build trading views for crypto, but in the end, why do you need it if TradingView has an excellent platform and can integrate crypto really well and really easily? Um, okay, so I don't know where 2 secs. Yeah, there. Okay, cool. See, the order of the tweets are very important to the narrative, and if they're slightly out of order, I get a bit confused. And I'm going to be honest, when I'm going through it, I'm not always paying attention. But to the order. I'm paying attention to the content, but not the order. Okay, so just in, Hyperliquid liquid deposits and withdrawals are now live on Polymarket. Yeah, so this is quite interesting, but what we're really interested in is the goss, right? The gossip and the trolling. It's the only reason we're in crypto, right? Because we just troll each other all the time. So Polymarket is now technically Hyperliquid 2, L2. And it's like, but so that's technically Solana L4. I'm presuming he's using the exact same logic that's up here. Getting a bit confused by it. Just because it takes deposits. I love it when people take jokes seriously, like they just don't get it. But yeah, okay, so we're trolling them. Hyperliquid is clearly on the radar for Polymarket, right? And everybody, like, people are trying to figure out if these two things converge at some point or relate with each other in some way. And I would like to see, and a lot of people have tried to draw comparisons. Like, remember when we had like badge month when everybody was accumulating their badges, and then all these weird sort of like spin-off narratives. I came up with a post. I'm going to talk about it. What if like Kalshi or Polymarket or Limitless is going to be the next Hyperliquid, and what would their token drop look like, and blah blah blah. I think it's quite interesting because Polymarket, there are people working on solutions to build what are essentially perpetuals on prediction markets, right? Like we've got an idea for one, but there's another guy who I need to dig out his Twitter. I think his name's David White, but I can't remember what his Twitter handle is. But he's like clearly very intelligent and very good with maths, and he's come up with through few solutions and papers around like research papers, like actual research papers around the maths around this stuff, and like how would you keep a prediction market open forever without actually answering the question and just trading the sentiment, right? Because really fundamentally, I believe what prediction markets are after, it is not truth, right? Like anybody that mentions truth, like they're just using it to like shortcut what we're actually after, which is accuracy, because truth is something that changes depending on where you are in the world, right? So we're after accuracy and we're after a sentiment and prediction. An aggregated view of prediction markets could build some really nice sentiment tools. But I think you would need some sort of perpetual open and then aggregate all the questions related to the perpetuals over time. We got ideas. We just need to get them out the door. If you haven't used testnet, go playground. Let me do my little caption. I've got a little caption thing here. Boom. There you go. Create a market. Play around with it. We actually we just updated a model on the homepage that makes it very clear the one of two things you can do on Groovy Market. That's participate and make money, or create a market and make money. Anyway, moving on. All right. I think, let me just check this one because there's two. Oh, where is it? That's the one. I need this one in this order. Sorry, guys. I'm hoping Diego's back tomorrow. We'll see. If he's still half dead, at least I've got Jitoshi and he can do talking while I do all the admin of it. So, breaking. They're always doing breaking. I don't think this is actually breaking. I think prediction markets have forgot what breaking news actually is. Actually, that's unfair to prediction markets. News in general has forgotten what breaking news actually is. The US is more likely to confirm aliens exist than AOC is to be the next president. That is, it's a very small margin of error. I'd say it's about the same, but it's also a bit sad for AOC. I don't necessarily tend to agree that aliens will be announced because I keep quite a close eye on alien things. Where I live, we're very close to alien spotting places. Not that I don't go out there. It was when I was a kid. There was abductions and everything. It's really funny. Not for the people. So yes, but I don't see AOC becoming president of the US. And what's really interesting is if you really want to play that game of arbitrage, so it's 8% on Kalshi, right? And on Polymarket, you can't see it right there. And then let me there we go. Does that work for you guys? 4% chance. So there's an arbitrage there, people. So just giving you the little alpha that I can actually offer you in this world, as I have never really been a tremendous trader, intraday trader. Actually, in saying that, my Polymarket account has always been up money. So maybe I'm not as bad as I think. So let's check out Pix on Chain, because we like Pix on Chain. I would like to have Pix on Chain. on this show. I have DM'd him. If you know him and you're listening, please tell him we're in his DMs. And a shout out. I never got the chance yesterday because I was so busy, but a shout out to the people on Rumble. We got our one Rumble follower. You're consistent. We love you. Okay, so what Picks on Chain saying today? Wait, so I can bet on the MetaMask token launch on Polymarket inside MetaMask. What a time to be alive. So it's like a dream inside a dream inside a dream inside a dream. I was doing some reply guy stuff this morning. I am, for the most of it, the reply guy on the Groovy Market account. So I suspect these embedded markets, so like perps like Hyperliquids and Polymarket and stuff like that, will become over time like the place where most of the trades are done. Right? It makes sense. It reduces friction. It means they only ever need to open one app. When I say they, I mean the users. Anything we can do in crypto to remove the amount of steps somebody needs to do, and there are a lot of steps in Web3 and crypto in general, but anything we can do to reduce that and just be happy with maybe our websites aren't busy, but we're getting lots of volume and betting, we're getting lots of data through, then that's great. I think that's it. So I think I wouldn't have necessarily thought this like a year and a half ago or something like that. I just wasn't thinking about it that much. And I might not have ever come up with the idea because I wasn't clever enough. But having the wallets as the central place for people to do all crypto things seems like a great idea. And maybe it's time to get into the wallet business. But if anybody's out there and they're getting into the wallet business and things, and you're already maybe you run a wallet company or something like that, can you guys get together and create some sort of research foundation with the money that you guys have, the spare money you guys have, and figure out how the fuck we deal with seed phrases and recovery? Because this is one of the major reasons crypto has not moved forward, is because nobody wants to lose all of their money because they were out drunk one night or their house got robbed, or like somebody stole it. Like in London, there's just like such a high rate of people getting their phone snatched in the street, and there's quite a high rate of those phones having crypto on it. And you hear the stories like, "Holy shit, I lost 30,000 because I had my exchange app on my phone and somebody stole it." So, well, exchange ones are different, but if we're trying to move to economies where we're paying with crypto, we need better seed recovery solutions um, that are still private, right? And we're not like handing our power back over to centralized companies. Anyway, I will move off of this tangent. See, this is why it's great to have Diego here, because he mitigates my tangents. All right, so the past couple of days, right? Like, mention markets are great. Like they are obviously their culture, right? But I think they're a part of the culture. If you imagine a Venn diagram where normies, crypto natives, and basically any other person can get together and understand. And we've had people like Aggie, who used to come on the show, and she pushes this narrative quite a lot. And the I can't remember a handle. The Polybad, one of the people that's part of Polybaddies, we covered a post yesterday. The OX Ginger something. They talk about this a lot, right? This is pure speculation of speculation and entertainment, like blended together as entertainment. You literally need no experience to participate, right? And you can win and lose it. And these guys, this is really funny. Like, here's what's his face? There he is. Prediction marks for trader. He's doing the same, right? When Powell coughed. I don't have the volume on, but this is like peak. This could we will this when this explodes fully into the masses. Generations will look back and go like that was like peak bread and circus at that point in time. People are literally betting on words that other people are going to say. I mean, what a world we live in. Right, let's move on. We're getting to the end of our show. Share this one. Rosen. I think he is very interesting. and he's got a couple of takes for us. It definitely feels like Insider Week on Polymarket. It does. It does. But this wasn't necessarily the case because we covered this at the beginning of the week when Domar said it was an image leak on the side. So I think an image leak we can't really count as insider trading, but I get the sentiment, right? After the recent Nobel Peace Prize incident, another market could be getting insider trading right now. A completely new account has taken 30k USD at the ridiculous price of 43 cents a share in favor of Ver's pardon within the next 2.5 months. If we scroll down a bit, Roger Ver. Why do I not know who Roger Ver is right now? Like, I can't, off the top of my head, that name doesn't really ring a bell. He actually sounds like a bad guy in some film. Roger Ver was charged for fraud and tax evasion and recently reached a deal with prosecutor. Now, sorry guys, I just need to interrupt. I need to know who Roger Ver is because I must know this person if he's doing all sorts of crimes like that. Roger Ver. Oh, that guy. Oh, I know. I'm just bad with names. I'm bad with names in real life and on the internet. Okay, yeah, I know more Roger Ver. This news has led to a spike in pardon odds. However, this news does not actually imply any pardon whatsoever. Exactly, it's just people betting. Oh, there's me. Yeah, because I replied to this and got yeah, okay. I don't see any reason why he would be getting pardoned for this, but yet again, I'm not sure whether to fade this potential insider. I mean, I don't know. Okay, this is it. These new sorts of spontaneous markets that are appearing, um, will could lead quite easily to quite a lot of insider trader or just quite a lot of nonsense. I mean, sometimes it's hard to discern between nonsense and coordinated attacks, right? For example, what's going on in pretty much every government in the world, I don't necessarily believe is a coordinated attack. Could just be complete idiocy. So let's move on to Friday night trades. I wonder if this pair only trades on Friday nights. Does it say in his profile? He doesn't say. Use my affiliate link to trade on Polymarket. Is that a joke? Are there no affiliate links? I don't know. We'll cover this in a minute. So, one of my favorite Polymarket accounts to follow is Scottylicious. It's a good name, rolls right off the tongue. He is a long-time user who bets massive size on sure bets on markets he believes to be a bond. He has amassed total earnings of 1.8 million using this strategy. Def an account worth keeping an eye on. Let me go find Scottylicious. Sorry, I hate dead air time. I will do my best to talk through it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let me just share this briefly. So these are the important metrics I like to look at. Let's see if you guys can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right, so trading volume almost 50 million. Wow. He has gained 2.1 million and lost almost a million. So he's up 1.2 million. Just excellent. I just wanted to kind of like just to clarify that because I think sometimes people post stuff and they don't have the specific detail. Just kind of like when you see these fucking KOLs posting Google Trend charts that have the dotted line going into the moon. Either they stole it from somebody else or they don't know how to read Google Trends charts. Dotted lines are predicted that they're going to go that way, but they a lot of the time don't go that way. So yeah, that's cool. And again, like it would be cool, and it's something that we might do if we get a bit of time, is do a bit of analysis around these big accounts. Like, what did they bet on? What were their general like just deep dive on those specific accounts, to see if they always bet no. Actually, how many no's has he got in there? There's a lot of no's in there. See, nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. All right, moving on. This is a topic that I don't know if I know anything about, but I saw it pop up yesterday from Good Prediction Markets and governance plus governments equals futardio. I'm not going to get these words right. Futarchi is not that hurt my throat. Futarchi is not another governance model. Really? All right, convince me otherwise, my friend. I'm in. It's a bet that markets can make better decisions than people. I don't know where I stand with that one. We'll continue before I speak any more on it. For years, DAOs have been trying to govern by democracy with token votes, delegation systems, endless proposals, but voting doesn't measure truth. That's a true point. Yes, DAOs. Well, Diego says DAOs work for what they're meant to. He's never actually convinced me on that one fully. It's like they don't work properly. They can be hijacked very easily. I think that's it. And I suppose our RIL governments can be hijacked very easily as well using the same methods. Money. It measures popularity and rewards loud opinion over informed conviction. It sounds like Twitter. That's what it sounds like. Bunch of noisy KOLs that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Futarchi flips that logic. It says, stop voting on what you want, start betting on what will work. Little blurb from Vitalik, our top alien hunter. This requires credibility, neutral, decentralized ways of making high quality decisions that would otherwise be made by God Kings. Or what currently being made by God Kings. In my opinion, info finance, futarchi, distilled human judgment, e.g., deep funding, is a promising path. There are others too. Yes, so they're his preferred paths, right? Like, but there's always more than one solution to a problem. The premise: mainstream governance is broken. Token votes tell us what people prefer, not what reality will reward. Markets, on the other hand, are built to absorb belief, filter noise, and price truth. That is an idealistic view on things, but like generally, like textbook, I agree. Yeah, like that's what it's supposed to be doing. I think the past couple of crashes that we've had would suggest that something else happens in markets that us plebs do not have much control over. Okay, how it works. This is the bit I'm interested in because I have no idea what the fuck this thing is. A DAO sets a clear goal: increase protocol revenue over the next 6 months. Let me grab a little drink of my hot chocolate. For anybody who doesn't know, I drink a lot of hot chocolate. Two policies are proposed. A, launch a token incentive program. B, integrate a new yield product. Instead of voting, the DAO opens two conditional markets. Market A: what will revenue be if A passes? What will revenue be if B? What will revenue be if B passes? That got my mouth. Traders buy and sell based on their expectations. Yes, so this is okay. This makes lots of sense to me. One of the reasons that a few months ago we decided to integrate meme coins is because we wanted meme coin communities to use this as alpha. You can also use it for NFTs and stuff like that. Like, is this collection going to pop? Right. So you're not just buying the pure fucking hype machine, right? You can go in and put me like maybe there's three options like there is in a football game. Yes, no, maybe. And then and it would maybe like dilute the bullshit and limit or reduce the floor price so people aren't getting rugged by paying lots of money and then it collapsing, which we've seen with pretty much every Ordinals project. Sad about that. Anyway, If you believe proposal A will drive higher revenue, you will buy A shares. If you think proposal B will outperform, you will buy B shares. If you think both are overhyped, you will sell into either. Sorry, you will sell into either side. Each share represents a claim on the outcome. Yeah, I didn't know that there was actual like format for this. It makes sense. Like I don't know everything in the world, but like I'm glad there is because it's going to be easier to explain now that there's an actual framework to discuss it around. Here's what happens in motion. Early traders move first on instinct or private information. Yes, insider trading is private information, just in case you guys didn't know. As more traders join, price adjusts, reflecting the crowd's evolving estimate on the future. Every buy nudges the price upwards, thus signal increased confidence in that outcome. Every sell pushes it down, thus signaling doubt or overvaluation. So what he's saying is just it's a prediction market, and you use prediction markets to gauge the viability of a product, right? The product could be literally anything from a DeFi protocol to an NFT project and everything in between. This constant flow of trades turns belief into data. A price of 0.6 on market B might means the crowd believes that there's a 6% chance proposal B will produce higher revenue targets. Yes, when the market stabilizes, which predicts the higher outcome, executes automatically. If for 6 months revenue grows as predicted, the traders who bet correctly profit and those who were wrong lose. So why I'm pausing here is that would imply. I mean, I guess this is just an example, right? But this, like, if you're a startup or a foundation and you've not got loads of cash or anything like that, building two products to see what one loses might not be feasible. Just running a prediction market on one or the other, which is I'm going to do a Groovy plug where Groovy could come in is like you create the markets that you want and you make money. The protocol could make money off the revenue that generated from it, from those markets that are created. Then you could run it for like 3 to 6 weeks. Ooh, falling over 3 to 6 weeks, and see where people's belief is, and use it to feed into the decision making rather than just making it a decision making. But to run two products at the same time would be quite tricky, I think. Why it matters. Traditional DAOs run on sentiment, while Futarchi, I need to find out how to say it, runs on signal. Voting tells us who's loud. Market tells us who's right. Yeah. Yeah. In a futarchic in a futarchic system, why don't win by convincing people, but you win by being accurate. The early movers. Okay, so this is this a sales post? Right. Okay. Okay, so these guys are the guys that are doing it. Solana. Cool. All right. Okay. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Optimism tested Futarch. Oh, I hate this word now. Funding round and distributed 500k of OP based on predicted success metrics instead of community polls. It wasn't perfect, exactly. None of it is, and we should always remember that nothing runs perfectly. Some proposals were gamed. Yep, markets thinly traded. Exactly, this is what I was about to say. But it proved something powerful. People are willing to stake money on their beliefs. And when they do, governance becomes sharper. Challenges. It's not a silver bullet. I agree, but it's a nice step in the right direction. Metrics can be misaligned. Optimism for the wrong KPI, and you get optimized, sorry, for the wrong KPI, and you get the wrong behavior. That's also very true. Liquidity can be shallow. Whales can manipulate. Regulation looms. So, like this whole bit here, right? That whole piece there is just basically the thing that happens in DAOs right now with voting. So maybe it needs an additional layer or something in here to dampen down dampen down big buys. And sometimes outcomes can't be measured cleanly. I would imagine that you wouldn't run a market like this unless you can measure the outcome cleanly. Like you need to have a set KPI, again, like the right KPI, like you said above, because if you have the wrong one, it won't work. But I wouldn't see the point in running if you can't resolve the market in a clear manner. You end up with Lord Miles sort of situations there. But every new model begins as an imperfect sketch on something inevitable. The bigger idea. Futarchy, that's how I'm calling it. I hope that's right. Is not just about DAOs or crypto. It's about coordination and about replacing noise with measurable conviction. It's the evolution of prediction markets from forecasting what happened to the government. Let me say again. For forecasting what will happen to governing what should. If it succeeds, DAOs won't just be organizations, they'll be economic organisms and systems that think in probabilities, learn through feedback, and improve through loss. The takeaway: markets have always told us what's likely to happen. Futarchy dares to ask what happens when they're allowed to decide. They're being the community. The next great governance revolution won't come from more votes, it will come from more accurate bets. We won't just be predicting the future, we'll be governing through it. Anybody get anything else to say? It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a good take. It's a good take. It's a good bit of information. I didn't know that. Oh, it's not that this year. This was a topic, so it's cool. I've learned that. It's hyper capitalism, but isn't it? Like we have to if we have to always pay money to kind of move the direction of something, and if that market isn't deep enough, then we pay money and lose, even though the masses were right. I mean, like this is the issue. A lot of what we're seeing in crypto right now is basically just replicating what we've had for hundreds of years on paper, and it's not coming up with or what I'd say is the clever voting systems aren't really coming to fruition right now. Like, for example, like quadratic voting um, is maybe better. Like when you're, for example, politics, and you want somebody, you maybe just vote for the things that you agree you want to happen, and not the person. And then you have the sort of binding contract where we voted you to do these things, and you don't care who gets them, like who gets in. You just care who is the person that cares about things that you're interested in. Anyway, this is good. I'm gonna mull over this for a while. This is good, just like his name. Um, Definitely good stuff to think about. Okay, all right. So this last one, and I don't know if I want to cover it, but like, I kind of want to cover it. I don't know if this guy's got a beef with people. I don't think calling out these guys, like, I think this guy does some good content. I don't understand what the beef is here, right? And I don't know if there is a Polymarket affiliate program. If there is, I didn't see it publicly. Maybe it's something that happens when you get a badge or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't need an affiliate program if they were just paying you straight cash for talking about them. But anyway, if you want to know how KOLs would bullshit you to drive leads so they get paid, this is essentially it. And I'm not saying, like, I don't know if his methodology is particularly it, but they will basically write content, and I don't think the people he's talking about have done this. I don't know. So I won't go down and focus on those parts. But always be cautious of KOLs and people promoting particular narratives around things. Use your brain, because you look and see if they're sponsored by somebody, or if they're in the pocket by somebody, or if you look back in their timeline and they seem to be shilling, like, in blocks, specific things. That means that they're making money out of your interactions and your account creations and stuff like that. So it might not necessarily mm, basically you wouldn't want to trust them. There, I've seen this with Groovy. There are people who have shelled Groovy and never created an account, and thanks for shelling us and stuff like that. But don't shell us if you haven't used the product, because we want legitimate users, people who are genuinely interested in prediction markets doing things, not people who are just like hype men in the background going, "We really like what you're doing." I'm not sure how you can like what somebody's doing if you've never used a product or you've loosely used a product. So try pay attention to power users rather than KOLs or content creators in that sense. Not to say that they don't have something interesting to say. They may, um, but do your own research, do your due diligence. And one last thing, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to call this properly. Why can I get rid of the code? Not expand. How do I make it smaller? Okay, so this is run. Can I run this now, or do I need an account? I need an account. Oh, I gone broke it. All right. Well, now I've broke it, and I can't get back to that page, and I don't know why. 401. You don't know where the back is? Come on. Let's try again. Queries. This one. There we go. That's weird. Somebody at June want to tell them that when you hit back on a market, it happens this way. So weekly notional volume, that's essentially trading volume, I think it is. If Kalshi's data is stale, ping me on Twitter for a refresh. Current week is executed. Okay, so this was done 6 hours ago. So Kalshi was, if we look back here, they were kind of on level pegging, and then Limitless is creeping above them. The blue bit is Polymarket, I presume, yes. Myriad is very small. Oh no, okay, it's stacked. I didn't realize that. Silly me. So Polymarket very large. Kalshi going up and then coming down a bit. So I wonder what's happening here. I wonder if what date is that? That is the 9th. So is that last week? Yeah, okay. So I suspect this is probably to do with that huge announcement with New York Stock Exchange's parent company putting 2 billion into Polymarket and driving a lot of new users and a lot of new activity. So yeah, we'll check in again in a couple of weeks and see what it looks like. But yeah, I'd like to see, and Limitless is starting to grow a little bit. Everything went down to like they just stole the whole focus. It looks like crazy. I'd like to see Limitless go up a bit more. This is not like me versus them. I just want to see more competition in the market in general. And if it doesn't come from startups, damn sure it's going to come from the incumbent trad bet companies, because, like I said, not impossibly hard to create prediction markets. Potentially, may even be easier for these guys because they have very complex systems where they have to deal with odds, and they wouldn't need that stuff. So, yeah, I'd keep an eye on that space. So that is today's show. That was a tremendous, almost 50 minutes. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Diego might be back tomorrow. He might not. We're not going to push him because he's really quite sick. We do have Jitoshi tomorrow going to come on and talk all about the business that he's up to. And we'll go through some tweets and we'll just have varying different opinions on what's happening, I hope, to make it interesting. All right, guys.